Main character goes to the banquet, and one of his missions, which was assigned by the third prince, was to get the emperor to notice and pay attention to the third prince. So the main character's there. He brings up, with the help of the chancellor's son, is why I think he's kind of on the third prince's fraction, but I also think it's because he wants to kind of mess with the main character and shame the main character. Also, it could be either one of those two, but they bring up the main character's relationship with his father's relationship with his mother and stepmother, and the relationship with his brother, and how the main character basically got thrown out of his home, was sent to a land with barely anything to survive on, and had to grow the land himself, nurture the land himself, and get the people he needed himself. He tells his woe story to the emperor, and it infuriates the emperor. It also makes the emperor notice and pay attention to the third prince, who is one of his concubines, dead concubines' child. So yes, the main character does exactly what the third prince wanted, which was to make the emperor notice and pay attention to his child. When the main character first arrived at the banquet, and he mistakes the crown prince for the third prince because he only sees the guy's back and the guy is talking to the commander, so the main character assumes it's the third prince and rushes to them, acting precocious, a little minx, wanting his big brother's attention, except he realizes it's the crown prince. And the crown prince takes the advantage of it to have a conversation with the main character about the main character's teacher, who reveals to be also the crown prince's teacher. And so they kind of form a relationship from that. And I'm screaming, honey, didn't you get told by the chancellor's son and the third prince not to have a relationship with the crown prince? Also, there's a scene where the main character is in between the third prince and crown prince, and it feels like those two are fighting over the main character. I could have been wrong, but it feels like they were fighting over the main character. And the third prince asking his brother for permission to have the main character come over to his side and help with him when it came to this war situation. And his brother being like, yeah, you can take him, but keep your hands off my wife. Like, it kind of was giving that vibes. I could be wrong, though. The crown prince gets the main character to become a censor, basically a censor of war, and he's basically assigned to work alongside the third prince to deal with this war that's going on. The third prince, he acts like the main character's husband, and I am not kidding. When he gets permission from the crown prince to have the main character by his side and work alongside him, he has the main character's stuff taken from his dorm room at the college to be brought to his place. The main character sleeps in his room quite often, and even has most of his meals with the third prince. And when it was obvious that war was coming to their front lines, like coming to the capital, he wanted to get the main character out of there. He wanted to send the main character back home, basically like how a husband does when he's about to go to war, or war is brought to their homelands. He sends his wife back to her maternal home. That's what he's literally doing. He gets very furious, very pissed with the main character, and this causes the main character to get very upset with him, stating that he's not leaving. He has a new position. He has to stay to serve in that position, which gets him to argue with the main character, stating the main character only cares about his position. And the main character's like, I'm doing all of this for you. And he yells at the main character that he should be doing this for his husband and go back home where he belongs with his husband. And the main character's like, well, I've been told my husband is now heading this way. I cannot leave because my husband don't know where I will be. But this whole situation reminded me of like the war books or other manhwas I have read, where the husband is always trying to keep his wife safe, keep his wife in different locations where they will be safe, even if the wife wants to fight alongside him, and it causes them to have fractions and arguments over that. But yes, giving that to me, it's very much giving that back. The main character and his little uncle, they have been sending letters back and forth to each other through a messenger, and the main character informs his uncle, who wanted permission anyways for this, is to open up their doors for disaster relief. Keep some for themselves, but make sure that the people can get it, that people can get the food that they need to survive. So the main character is doing charity work. He's already proven that he will do charity work when it came to the war, and now he's doing that again. The main character, even though he doesn't leave to go back home, he sends his 3 servants that he brought with him back home. Specifically, 2 of them he brought, which one was his pupil, and the third one is actually one who got sent here to take the male lead's place and take care of the main character, while the male lead went back home to take care of the situation at home. So yeah, the main character has his 3 servants, and he tells the 3 to go back home, that he will stay, but he doesn't want them to be in danger, so he sends them back home. The main character's paternal uncle, the one the main character was living with during those 3 years, he was supposed to be studying in the college, but instead was fooling around. His uncle comes to him, begging the main character to give him like the passport things that will allow his uncle and his uncle's family to travel to a safer location and not be stuck in the capital, because a ton of people are leaving the capital to go somewhere safer. And so the main character gets his uncle the permission his uncle needs. The chancellor's son also comes to him to get permission to send his concubine away, so his concubine will be somewhere safer, and the main character gives the chancellor's son that permission too. One of the two commanders is killed, not the one the main character has a good relationship with, but a different one. And who is chosen to take the dude's place, because again, the enemies is basically right there banging on their doors, is the soldier the main character has a good relationship with, the soldier in the Third Prince's faction, the one the main character had gifted stuff to form connections and relationships that leveled up the dude's position. Yes, he is chosen to go and be the new commander, so he's commander too. And the Third Prince is not pleased with this because, again, he's losing one of his good men and he wants to be the one to fight in that position instead. But the Emperor and Crown Prince refuses to allow him to have. The main character even tries having a conversation with the Crown Prince about it, and the Crown Prince understands where the main character is coming from, but there's nothing they really can do. So yeah, it is a mess. Both the commanders are killed. We are not technically sure about the first commander, but we are sure about the second commander. They are both killed. Not long after that soldier took the position of Commander 2, he is killed. And not long later, Commander 1 is murdered. They both die fighting for their countries. And the main character is left heartbroken each time he finds out one of them was killed. Originally, the Emperor tried to run away, and this is before Commander 1 died, but he tried running away with his vassals to go somewhere safer, but it also was to try to get immortality, go to a place he knew mortality could be probably found, and he was caught by Commander 1, and Commander 1 sent him right back. And you know what the Emperor does after he returns back? Instead of trying to make decisions to fight and protect his country, no, he decides to basically step down and give the position of Emperor to the Crown Prince. The enemy, like I said, is like very much banging on the doors. They're on that first wall. And the main character and the Third Prince is doing everything they can to fight against the enemy and protect the people. But the enemy has boulders and arrows they're flinging at the main character and the, government. Like, they're like, we don't know what to do. We're not safe. So they decide to move the civilians into the other side of the wall, like another wall, where they will be safe, like deeper into the capital. But again, this does not keep the people safe. They're still doomed and in danger. Even if the main character and the Third Prince wants to go down fighting, dying to protect their country, when the Emperor does not want to do it, there are much they can't do.